do a review of the Hanare and the new toilet that goes with it. So often in Japan the toilets are separated from the place where you take a shower or a bath or brush your teeth and wash your face, so that they can be used by one person while someone else is doing other things. So we added this toilet in. There was no toilet here, and the carpenter did an amazing job of making it look like there always actually was a toilet here. So we this was actually an entryway into an old pit toilet in the back, and so here
in the back, being behind that wall.
Behind this wall, there was a pit toilet. This wall is actually kind of how it was before. Then we added onto the mud walls at the bottom, we added this hinoki cladding and the wood on the floor. And then this area was actually that really ugly wallboard, kind of with the almost like wallpaper on it that they often use in Japan. So we just took all that down, and then this mud wall is actually completely redone. This is another one of those where we took some of the mud out of the other parts of the house, saved it, and reused it for the when we remade walls. So we ended up with things that were, this is new, this is old, but they're exactly the same color. Interesting things about, like, you have to plane down the wood, and then they set it where it overlaps on the ceiling as a architectural detail. These kind of areas, the wood is never just laid flat, it's always overlapping at an angle.
Right.
So it makes it also so it's not airtight, which is unfortunate, but that's the technique. And you can see it up here on this as well. Like as we're going in the hallway, the Engawa heading down to the Hanare, then you can see how that overlaps. Some of those boards have been water damaged and things, so they're kind of bowed and that kind of,
right.
But that's fine. So as we enter this Hanare, we call it the Hanare because it means like set aside, set apart. And this building, it looks like it's connected to the rest of the house, but it is only connected by these exterior walkways. The building itself is standing independently. So as we come in, this is our most completed room so far. Originally, this was just 6 tatami mat, 6 tatami mat. If you've been around Japan for any length of time, you know a tatami is roughly a meter by 2 meters. And so most of the homes are designed on a grid system with the tatami as the base. So this would have been 6, this would have been 6. And then you have what they call a tokonoma and an oshire. So, and each of those is basically 1 tatami mat size. Yes. So 1 by 2 meters.
And over here, you can see the routed wood, right?
Yeah, so this is where there would have been more doors to divide this room in half.
And it would have been 6 and 6. Right.
Yeah. So this could have been, so it's the case of a lot of the spaces where people say, how many rooms do you have, right? And the number is hard to sometimes figure out because a lot of the rooms are flexible space. Like this was 2 rooms, or it was 1 room, depending on if the doors were open or closed. It's also where, when we were looking up originally houses online and things, thinking about a place to live, it's very hard to find what's square footage, or how many bedrooms does it have, because sometimes like we have other room, like the pickle room and the miso room, they're kind of indoors, but they're also kind of outdoors because they don't have 4 walls, but they have a roof. And some places don't have a roof, but they're inside the walls. And so the flexible nature of the Japanese space makes it really hard to say, I have a house that's this big or has this many bedrooms. This looks like 1 room now. Years ago, it was 2. So we made this into a flexible space. The idea is that when the rest of the house is done, we'll swap this sofa out for a bed. And this can really be an apartment, standalone for guests. So for right now, the tokonoma is where you often would put something, scroll, a vase, a flower arrangement, something that's on display. We right now are using it as a place to store our dishes, which is actually kind of appropriate because for us, dishes is a piece of something that's important to us, and we enjoy using the things that are well made and beautiful. And then we hid a air conditioner in here, just so you think, just so you know, we're not going completely without.
Yeah, and if you go over here, it's hidden.
And it'll be, what, 90 today? With 80% humidity probably. So it's going to be a hot one. So we do get in here and turn the air conditioner on. This has become our temporary pantry. This typically would be used to store like futons and that kind of thing by the family. But right now we've just repurposed it.
We got the overlay over here. Yeah.
And right now we have pieces of paper stuffed into the ceiling because this was mouse-eaten, the wood in here. And until we patch those up, we just got pieces of paper in them.
Yeah, so we need to go up there and glue down pieces of wood from above, which we can do from over here.
Over here, this is kind of fun. So we basically took one tatami mat worth of space and made a compact kitchen. So we needed a kitchen to be able to have while we finished the rest of the house, but we also wanted to have for guests a place for them to have their own standalone apartment. So this is a unit that comes with infrared and induction heating and a sink and that kind of thing. And it's just a freestanding unit that we got from a Japanese company and a little fridge and stuff. So we added like lighting into, well, this is a second floor. And then I spaced this induction heating directly below what was the old stairway to the upstairs. So we can just open this up and it becomes a vent hood. So the steam just goes straight up.
And then we can access the space all above this room as well.
Yeah, and it's easy to see that this is particularly low compared to where I am, and then the ceiling is quite low too. But that's because there's a separate space above here where you can use for storage. It's almost standing height, a little less. But then when you come over here, this is much taller. So this is more of a traditional ceiling height. So the reason this is lower is because there's a secondary room up there.
Right.
And then we took the other space, so we took another one tatami mat and put in...
Right, so one tatami, then one tatami.
One tatami mat worth of space. We pulled the wall this way. So this wall is new. So the old wall would have been in line with this beam, and we brought it in line with this beam.
Right.
So we pulled it in one tatami's worth. Or like one, tatami width, but not like...
Yes.
We put in this door. This door is actually off of this is the old entryway door off of somebody's house. So it's kind of fun when Japanese folks come over and they see this and think, this is an exterior door, so they think it might go outside at first. And then came in here. And so this is place to wash hands, and then we have a shower in here as well. This was designed to just stay really simple and basic. And because the shower that we added in is actually smaller than one tatami width, then we had this extra space where we could put these shelves into the wall. Normally you'd just be like looking at one tatami, but we brought a slightly smaller shower in to be able to give us some space back. So our carpenter did a great job of framing this in and building this little extra space.
Oh, and you can see how the carpenter's attention to detail, Onishi-san. This corner here.
Yeah, these corners and the way if you look at the way these are inlaid and stuff together, it's just really amazing. And if you look at the precision, come on here, if you look at the precision of how this door is and how this wood is just beautifully shaped into this space, and then this just disappears perfectly behind there. Into its space.
Yes.
This is how looking off to the south, and then these beautiful windows where this, from years of rain and that kind of thing, the previous beams on here were actually twisted inward, and so the rain would come in, and so they were beyond repair. So we had to take those out, and these are some new beams, and we were able to put some screens on as well. So One of the interesting decisions was, do you make screen frames out of wood, or do you go with the aluminum? Originally I said wood because it's more in keeping with the tradition of the house, but our tategu-san, he recommended that we go with aluminum, and it's a great decision. They're really thin, they have furring on them that keeps them tight with the windows, so the bugs don't get in on that side. And if anything goes wrong there, you can take them apart easily. So they don't look bad.
Right. That was the fear, right? That it would look cheesy.
Yes.
That it would look wrong.
Yeah. So if you put like all aluminum windows in, it just wouldn't fit the period of this house. But this way, it's kind of a blend of the two. But because it's really deep, dark color, then you don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the interesting things about the walls in the house, and I guess this is probably something that anybody's going to encounter if they're buying an old Japanese house, is the houses shift and tilt and things over time, and the dirt walls have much less flexibility. So you end up with areas around the beams where you can just see outside. The light is coming right on through. And my question when we first moved in was, does that mean we have to redo the whole wall? And the technique that people use these days is from the outside, you just apply dark caulk and fill up the gaps. So there is still a bit of a gap until where the caulk starts, but it provides a little bit of insulation, and it provides bug barrier, and it provides that, most importantly, the light blocking. So it doesn't feel like the wall is exposed. And another fun thing is like just simple things like these two chairs. This was a popular style of this bent bamboo. Apparently it was popular maybe in the 80s, maybe a little before, but it's not particularly trendy now. So we went to a local store that salvages a lot of things from houses that are being torn down, and they had these, and we were able to get these. They rock and they swivel, and they're a beautiful representation of that era, and they're in really good condition. And they were really, $20 each? So supply and demand. There's some really amazing bargains to be had, because some of the things that I think and that we think have a lot of value are not valued right now here. One of the highlights of this room is the way these doors are made. So these doors run 8 of them across here, and they slide to reveal the inner garden, which we'll show in a second. But this detailed, it's called Kominka, which is the cutting of and assembling of the wood in a fine pattern. This is just beautifully well done. And our fellow was showing us, with these kind of things, they're like puzzle boxes, these doors. Each of these comes apart, and I took them apart in order to be able to clean them and sand down some of the places that were damaged. But that you can lift them up and then pull in just certain areas, apply just the slightest bit of pressure, and it releases the puzzle box like that, which I think is fascinating. And then these pieces of glass can also be removed, because these are made, well, I won't do it right now, but these are made to slide out as well. So it's kind of, you can assemble and disassemble based on what you need to do. The way these are made is just unbelievably detail oriented. So the same thing here, I can do that and just pop it right out.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And then this opens to our, what we call nakaniwa. Part of the Japanese concept here is merging the inside and the outside. So having walls that disappear, floor-to-ceiling glass on the engawa, it eases the transition between inside and outside. So you feel, this house lives a bit like camping or a cabin or something like that, even though it's a big old traditional Japanese house. You feel very connected to the outdoor spaces.
Yeah, and now just by opening up those doors, this seating area has become very open.
So we would sit here and have conversation and things, but oftentimes in the morning, I'll just have my coffee like this.
Yeah.
into the inner garden. So that's the Hanare. This was our first fully finished room in the house, and this has been our base while we've been doing the rest of the house. So we're really happy with the way this went, and really happy to have this as a place for us to live while we're working on the rest of the house. And it's also a place that will be waiting for guests. That'll be our primary guest quarters when you all come. Bye-bye.